From the apparent collapse of parenting to poor nutritional grades for Alberta youth, and what happens when parents take cheerleading too far. Our parenting experts are in for this week's lifestyle panel, and joining us this evening, Wendy Mueller, publisher of several parenting magazines, including Edmonton's Child. Dr. Peter Neiman is an author and pediatrician with the Calgary Weight Management Centre, and Judy Arnall, certified parent educator and best-selling author of Discipline Without Distress. Good evening, folks.
Hello.
Welcome back.
Good evening.
Great to see you. All right, let's start with behavior. Most all parents experience at one time or another.
Please don't yell at me.
No, you understand.
How come you're yelling at Mommy?
Ooh, that's one angry young man. Meltdowns, tantrums, we've all witnessed it. According to a physician and psychologist turned author in Pennsylvania, moms and dads are to blame for this kind of behavior. His new book, The Collapse of Parenting, How We Hurt Our Kids When We Treat Them Like Grown-Ups, outlines how parenting failures are resulting in overweight, over-medicated, anxious, and overall disrespectful kids, raising questions about whether or not parents are giving up too much control. Wendy, what do you make of this author's claims? Have we as parents handed over too much control to garner respect from our kids?
Well, that's a pretty broad question. With the article that we read, I definitely, it resonated with me absolutely. And I have 5 children spanning from 10 to 19. And I can tell you that the 19 and older ones, I probably was modeling that behavior of giving them a bit more control. And through experience and trial and error, the 10-year-old has a lot more boundaries and a lot more strict parenting, basically, that I do think that we're trying to do our best. All parents are just trying to do their best, and there's so much literature and information out there about, giving them lots of choices and to talk to them like adults, which I think are fine in certain circumstances. But when it comes down to behaviors that are outside of the boundaries of your family, I think the parent needs to be the parent, and there is an opportunity to draw the line. It's a black and white issue, and that's how it's going to be dealt with.
Judy, are we at the point of the collapse of parenting, as the book claims?
Well, I think parents definitely are losing control, especially as their children age. All parents lose control. But if your relationship is really respectful in that you treat your children with the same kindness, politeness, and respect as you treat your neighbors, your boss, your partner, then what you gain is influence. And parents can definitely parent with influence, but it's not a matter of ordering kids around. It's a matter of certainly directing, using leadership skills to direct, and then when you hit pushback from your kids, go into problem-solving mode.
Peter, many young adults are waiting now to have children, waiting until they have the perfect job, the perfect home, the perfect marriage. There is a lot of stress in becoming that perfect parent.
Yeah, absolutely. It's an interesting question for me, a pediatrician who's done the job 30 years. I've seen all kind of trends over the last 3 decades. And you're right, people sometimes put off parenting. And when they do that, in many cases, they may only have 1 child or perhaps 2 children. And the child becomes very, very precious to them and very focused and almost dictates the pace that the family moves along. It's almost as if they said, we waited so long, now is our opportunity, and they want to do it perfectly. They want to just be flawless, and we know in parenting it's just not possible at all. We're all going to make mistakes, and we're all going to come to the table with the best intentions, and we learn as we go along. There's just no manual, and one size doesn't fit all. It's probably tough to be a parent of any child, but especially teenagers, very, very difficult.
All right, on that note of trying to be the perfect parent, many mums and dads looking for advice turn to the internet, from blogs to apps and forums. The number of online parenting groups continues to grow with answers and advice on every obscure parenting question or trend. But is there any harm in seeking parental advice online? So Peter, we'll go back to you. Are we on the verge of information overload?
Well, there's always that risk, and I tell my families, in the end, this is the organ here, the heart, that you have to trust, or your gut, your heart or your gut. Go with your gut feeling. Over the years, I've learned as a pediatrician, it's a very valuable question to ask any parent. So what are you thinking? What is your gut telling you? What's that parental sense telling you? So many times they are spot on with what they anticipate is wrong, where the root of the problem may lie. I like online gatherings for support groups, children with, for example, Down syndrome, or parents of kids with ADD or autism. And the only caveat I would say is it should never develop into what we call competitive parenting, where one parent will tell the other parent, what? Your kid is a year old and can't talk. My child started to talk at age 6 months, you know. There's something wrong with you. You're not a good parent. That's the danger of some of these online things where people start to compete with who's the best parent.
Judy, with all the information out there, how do we weed through it all? Who do we trust?
Well, there's a lot of information out there, and quite often in parenting forums, in blogs, a lot of the information is anecdotal. It's not based on evidence, and parents, when they read this stuff, take it home and try it out, they're doing their children harm that they don't know they should be. So I always tell parents, read recommendations, get a really good book, or consult your doctor on child development, and then take it home and do what's right for you. So forums are really, really good for support. They're also really, really good for criticism. So develop a thick skin and use that delete key.
Yeah, there are two sides to that. Wendy, what happens when we try to take it all in and try to be that perfect parent?
We fail. We absolutely fail. I think, you know, the day of Pinterest right now, where we're trying to plan a 2-year-old's birthday party, and it's like putting on a wedding, that there's so much pressure to do everything perfectly, the perfect cake, decorations, invitations, loot bags, everything. And I think nothing is perfect. Parenting is messy and dirty and frustrating sometimes. It's wonderful as well. But when we're trying to live up to a standard that is set up and staged, like something that you see on Pinterest, and same thing with some of the blog posts, you know, it's staged that here's how I deal with things and here's the wonderful reactions that I get from my children. Yeah, I agree with Judy. It's anecdotal, but we have to trust in our gut and our instinct and do the best for our kids from what we know. But I think lots of information is great as long as you don't get caught up in trying to be perfect.
All right, we're just getting started. Up next, Cheerleading 101. What to do with all those parents screaming from the sidelines. More from our lifestyle panel after the break.